Okay, so for an inventory, similar to Stardew Valley, what you're going to need is a player character and a way to interact with the items and send them. And if you haven't got that, you are starting off with a blank project. I've got 2 videos that will get you to this stage here without the art, just with blocks and stuff. Okay, so if you have watched those videos and came back, what you want to do is save this as a save branches scene, put it where you want it, and then delete it out of here so you can no longer interact with the block. Okay, and then in the signal bus, or any way that you've got signals, we want to make an inventory send inventory and another one inventory ask inventory, and we'll separate those. Save that. So in your player, make a new node, just a normal node, and call it inventory. Add a script. Place it wherever you want. I'll put it in my managers folder. And then we'll make this its own class. Class name, inventory manager. It needs 2 variables right now. So one is an inventory of an array, and the other one is the inventory size, 6, integer. And then get your ready function and resize your inventory to the inventory size. You could even make this an export bar, then you can play about with sizes and stuff on here. And then if you print your inventory, inventory, it'll, I'll show you what it does. So when it starts, it'll print 6 no's, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Right? And then above this, we want to make enter tree. We want to get our signal bus, and then inventory, oh no, item, the item one that we've already made, dot connect, try add item. I do recommend doing my first, at least watching my first video. Actually, the second video has the config in it, which will go through all this, because we're going to need this. So I recommend watching those 2 before coming to this one. Back to the inventory. So we need to make this try add function. So try add item, and this will take in an item key, which is an item config dot keys. Yeah. And then after that, it needs a callback of a callable, and then void. So here, we need to make another function, which is if check empty, which we'll make in a second. Well, we'll make it now, actually. Keep that red, so check empty. And this is going to return a bool. So return inventory dot count no greater than 0. Oh no. Yeah, greater than 0. So it will return true if this inventory is holding a slot which has got a no in it. Okay? So counting each one in this is basically doing a loop and checking if each item in here is a no, and once if it's got, then it will count each one that's no. And if it's that number is greater than 0, it will fire off true. So if check empty, we want a 4 slot in inventory dot size if inventory square bracket slot is equal to no, then inventory square brackets again slot will equal to item key, and then we do callback dot call, and then we break it there. And then we can, down here in the function, we can print inventory again. So now what this should do is when we pick that block up here, we should get another print of the array, but the first one should be 0. There you go. So that one's now been stored into our inventory as a key. So we can remove this right now and do send inventory, and we'll make that its own function. And we'll make it right now. Func send inventory. If I can spell inventory. And all this is going to do is signal bus dot inv send inventory dot emit, and we're going to send the entire inventory array with it. Okay, but in here we also need to signal bus dot inventory ask inventory connect that to send inventory like so. So that should pretty much be this inventory finished. We can check if I duplicate this and just place like 7 or so. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should be able to pick all of them up except one. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. And then that one won't pick up. Okay. So now on to the actual visual inventory, which we need, first of all, is an input mapping, which I will call open inventory. And we'll make that tab. Okay. So let's make a new scene, user interface, and we'll call this inventory screen. And then we'll, under this screen, we'll make a color rect, and then resize it to the entire screen. And this is where it might get a bit confusing. Okay, because this sort of stuff is confusing. Just gonna rename everything to what it is. So what I'll do here is do another center container, and then oh no, we'll duplicate that background without the center container in it. Make it anyway. Let's make it look halfway decent, I guess. We'll make that there, and then we'll change this color to a little bit lighter like that. So now it's got like a border to it. And in this, I want to put that inside that one and make it full rect, and then bring it in a little bit like that. And then in here, put a grid container. Okay. And then we'll save that under game, and then UI folder. Okay. And then click on your grid container. You can rename it to inventory slots, and then access as unique name here. That'll just make it so you don't need to go through all of these to get to it. It'll just access it as its name. Okay, so now that we've got the actual box sorted, let's make the slot. We want to use an other node of a texture rect, and then put whatever you decide as a slot there in there. Okay, and then rename it to slot with a center box, center container inside it again. Then resize that, then put another texture rect. Like this first one, if you don't have anything here for a texture, you can just use a gradient. Do the same process as what I just did to resize it, go in here, change your colors, stuff like that. But I've got this that I drew. Okay, we're going to rename this to icon. Okay, now what I do here is I use the built-in one, because if you put this in here, you see it's massively oversized. So go into your icon, click expand mode and do ignore size, which will shrink it right down, and go into your layout, go here, do 16 by 16. Now that's looking really small to me. So 32 by 32, that looks okay. But sometimes when you whack them into your grid container, it messes up. That still looks a bit big to me, to be honest, because look at the difference. See? You've got the border around there, but there's no border, so it still looks a bit bigger here. And this is where I get confused. Okay. So I had a little bit of trouble with texture, the sizing of the icon. I had it at 32 by 32, but if you put it at 28 by 28, it seems to work fine. For some reason, yeah, it's smaller there, but it looks fine there. And I don't quite understand that, but it's what it is. So you just kind of got to play about, because I don't get the custom minimum sizes and stuff, because they just don't seem to align right. I'm probably just thinking about it wrong, but hey ho, it's working. So we made the slot, put this in for testing, but if you so remove that, and we'll make a script for that, and I'll put it in the UI. So UI is a slot. We'll class name this slot capitals. And then we need to grab the icon and make one variable called key, capitals. We'll keep that as a null. Okay, because it can be null. So we'll just not say anything here. Okay, because if we make it an item key, it will automatically make it the first one. So I know a lot of people don't like to define their stuff here, because it can cause problems, but this one needs to be nothing. So func set key, which will be key with small ones, which item config dot. Oh, that can also be null. So we'll just keep that as null, like that, key. We'll make a comment here saying can be null, and here saying key can also be null. Okay, so if key that we're passing in equals null, and then our key will equal null, and then the icon dot texture will equal null. Then we'll do else our key will equal to little key. Nope, I didn't. There we go. And then icon dot texture will be equal to item config dot get item resource little key dot icon. Okay, so in your So that's the slot finished. Make sure you save it. Now in your inventory screen, what we want to do here is add a script into UI, class name this, Jesus Christ, Reggie. Nothing out there, but he's still barking at everything. Inventory screen. So this needs to get the unique name of this, which will change the $sign to the %sign, which means it's getting it as a unique name. So it doesn't need to go through all of this. It's just getting it as this name. Because you'll have problems doing it this way if you have multiple things that are named the same thing. Like if I had another container with another inventory slots in it, then it would probably break and cause some problems. So you should only have one thing in underneath this, or in this scene in general, that is named that to use this percentage. Okay. So we need to add enter tree signal bus dot inv send inventory dot connect. We're going to connect it to set inventory slots, and func underscore ready. We're going to signal bus out to inventory ask inventory dot emit, and that doesn't need to shoot off anything there. So func set inventory slots, this will be full slot in inventory slots. Alright, set inventory actually needs, I'll put this as inv, and that is an array. Okay. So what you want to do is slot equals slot as capital slot. That's saying this slot is the slot, but get it as our class slot. Okay, so we'll be able to use this function in it. Okay, so slot dot set key, which is there, and we want to use inventory have I done that wrong? Might have done that wrong again. That might need to be size dot size. So full slot in inventory slots dot get. Let's start this again so it doesn't confuse people. Inventory slots dot get children dot size. So now that is an integer. That's an index of these children. Okay, and it's going through them. So what you want to do is var slot index equals inventory slots dot get children after the brackets, put in the curly brackets and put in slot as capitals, as the class name slot. Okay. I'm so bad at naming conventions. Right, so slot index dot set slot, set key, and that'll be inventory small slot. Okay, so yeah, so that's an index, and we're getting the index of each one of our slots. But we need to make sure that inside our inventory slots is actually the same amount as in our inventory manager, which is currently 6. So we'll just duplicate this, 6. Then if, depending on how you want to, you can have that as 3, like that. This is quite big compared to how many slots we've got, but it's okay for testing. Okay. So set the slot. We can actually test this, right? Like put in this in here. So in here, when we open it, that should all look like that, but it's not. But it, well, without any code, it should. But it shouldn't because we're setting them all back to null when we open it. So go back to your inventory manager and we'll instantiate it. We'll just do it really easily. var inventory screen bulletin is equal to preload inventory screen.tscn. Okay. Func underscore input if input dot is action just pressed open inventory var inv screen equals inventory bulletin dot instantiate, and then just we'll put canvas layer here underneath here. This is all just for testing purposes. So we can get the canvas layer and put it in there because it's underneath the inventory. And then we do canvas layer dot add child inventory screen. Okay. See, we're all empty, but we can't close it. It'll just keep adding more and more and more on top of it. Okay. But if I go on here now, pick up that, they should actually be in there. Yeah, see? So we have 2 blocks. And if you want to close, like, you can make it a lot neater than this by using the signal bus and stuff, but that works. It's in there. So let's get, so the last thing I'm going to do now is make it closable. Because I'm not showing you how to sort out, open inventories and stuff. I wanted to show people how to actually get the items into here to work. So this will work. All you need to do is add more of these. 26. Mouse. Go up here to your slots and make that look better. You know what I mean? Change the size of your background here to suit. Go. And then go, how many is there? 26. Go into your inventory and change this to 26. So in here, you could easily do a bool that would be inv open, it's false, and then in here do if inv open um, canvas layer dot get child 0 dot q3, and then here like an else here and do that, and then just at the end of this inv open equals not inv open. There we go. Nice. Dynamic. Could even move this whole thing up to the top here. You've got a little inventory. Okay. And if you watch my second video in the Platformer Puzzler playlist, it will show you how to make this item config, and all you need to do to make new items is add stuff here, add your resource here, and you don't even need that. It depends if you want that. That's just if you want to drop stuff or anything. All depends on what you're looking for. But that's how you make an inventory manager in Godot. Right. Thank you very much. Till next time.